Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about the Magicka Sorcerer pet build for Clockwork City. There's a lot of variations you can use this build with. You can run 2 pets if you want to. You only can run 1 pet, which I recommend. And you see the stats are pretty similar to my non-pet build. That's why I try to make it more similar. So if you want to change things around, you don't need to swap too much stuff. However, if you still want to run necropotents or other things, you can do that. I will have like different gear setups on my website on the written guide. I will put the link in the description for that, just in case. As you can see, we have a lot of Magicka recovery needed. Sorc's abilities are very expensive, and see that in a second. We're using the Apprentice Mundus Stone because this is optimized for trials and dungeons. And usually you have enough penetration already. If you play solo, I would run the Lover Mundus to get more penetration. If you want, you can be a vampire, but you don't need to. Buff food wise, or drinks, we use the Witch Mother's Potent Brew. And potions, we use the Spell Power Potions. Now, as you can see, because we use the Witch Mother's Potent Brew, we still have 16.2k health. If you feel uncomfortable with that, you can get more. But we have big shields, so it's not that big of a deal. The reason why we are a little bit higher than on other builds is because here you get 8% more max health. Like when I take the pet away, I'm at 15.1k. That's just something to keep on mind. Now, race, high health, definitely best one. You get shock damage, 4%, max Magicka, and a little bit of recovery. That really helps. In terms of gear, I said I make them more similar, so instead of necropotents, we are running now Julianos. It also puts us at the better crit rating than previously. 49 is definitely better than 41. But like I said, if you want to run Necro to get more max Magicka, go for it. 2 Elembris, probably strong as set, and because we still have like 16.2k, we will definitely use it. 3 Moondancer Jewelry with spell damage. Here all divines. You need magic enchantments on the gear. 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy. So you get the full bonus from the Undaunted metal here. 6% extra resources. Helps a lot. So this is my front bar. We have infused Moondancer stuff. Infallible Aether also works. If you don't have Moondancer. Infused Shock Enchant. Shock Enchant is probably the best one because it applies concussion on the target. However, if you already have a lot of concussion on the enemy from other people, then actually the fire enchant might be better because the burning status effect deals a lot of extra damage. That's the thing. Back bar, Maelstrom Lightning Staff, Nirnhound with weapon damage enchant. Now again, I use Nirnhound because it's simply better in trash fights when we apply our AoEs than heavy attack. If I could hit him there. It's just overall more AoE DPS. If you want more single target DPS, you actually could run an infused enchant, infused trait here with a fire enchant or a weapon damage enchant. That's another option. Okay, that's it about the gear setup. You can run Valkin if you want to, Grofdar, it's up to you, but Elembris usually performs best on a Sorc. CP, same as always, just very important, 75 here because of the off-balance proc. It's all on my website, you can find the CP stats on my website. My website is always more up to date than the videos, just because I can change things easily there if you have new findings. Please also don't forget to subscribe. I will definitely do more videos on this kind of subject. Skills. Crystal Frags, Hardened Ward, Force Pulse. This is our spammable and we only use this when it procs. Like, casting it is not good. You want instant proc. Sure. Oh no. Yeah. Because when you cast it 1 second, it's too... you lose DPS. Inner Life for more max Magicka. And the Familiar, it's very strong. Like, that's the main difference between the other DPS build. Pet build is always stronger, if you can manage that the pet doesn't die too often. Because the pet is like 3-4k extra DPS. Shooting Star. So this here gives us 7% more Magicka and this another 2. Because of Magicka controller. And 5% from the ability, so it's really nice. Back bar. Blockade of Storm and Liquid Lightning, 2 of our AoEs and also strong as single target abilities. Mage's Wrath, Execute, Daedric Prey, and that's another reason why the pet is so strong. Use this every rotation. Like on the non-pet build we used Haunting Curse, but here we're using Daedric Prey. Will deal a little bit more damage and the pet gets really strong attacks. Pet again because you need to slot it on 2 bars and Thunderous Rage. That's the general setup. Now you will see, I will just do like 3 million bars, mostly to show you the rotation. It's basically the same. You apply all your AoE dots here. Then you use the pet and then the Daedric Prey. You first want to use the pet and then the Daedric Prey. That's very important. This has a 6-second timer and this ability has an 8-second. When you use this, you will get the full damage boost from Daedric Prey, but when you use this first and then the pet, you will lose 1 extra tick, or like 1 second of the boosted damage from your pet. That's why I say activate the pet first and then the Daedric Prey. Another thing to mention, you see all the abilities are very expensive. 2.7, almost 3k. 2.5, 3k. This is 2.3, so that's why we need to use Witch Mother String. Otherwise we will be out of sustain, or you have to do a heavy attack build, complete heavy attack build. Let me actually slot Elemental Drain, otherwise I will be out of Magicka in few seconds. Other than that, the rotation is not more... well, like a lot different than with the non-pet build. You just add another dot and you have to use the Daedric Prey every rotation instead of compared to Haunting Curse every 2 rotations. So as you have seen, I had to do heavy attack almost basically every rotation. But in a raid, it's not that big of a deal. You probably still have, but you will have Worm Cult, so you get more cost reduction, and healers will use bubbles. So every time you pop a bubble, you get 4k Magicka. And other than that, heavy attacks, yeah. Now another thing that might be good to mention, so basically, you can also do the heavy attacks on the back bar. Because I only use a fire stuff because of the ancient knowledge, so you get more single target damage. But that's only really useful when you can use force pull and crystal frag. But if you have too much sustain issues, then you better have either double shock, because this is AoE, AoE, and AoE. Your 3 best damage abilities plus the ulti are AoE, so it might be better to run 2 shock, but that's for you to decide, because you see lightning stuff increases your damage done with AoE effect abilities by 8%. Just so you don't forget. As you can see, basically those 3 abilities are the strongest, all AoE, but also the strongest on single target. Now I had minor vulnerability was 72. That means I had 8% more damage. It was when the enemy is concussed. That's through all shock abilities have a chance to concuss the enemy. Off balance comes from the champion. Well, gives you 10% extra damage. And this is while a target is concussed with minor vulnerability and you have a shock blockade. Then off balanced will proc. Very important, especially for raids in trials. That's why I mostly use shock glyphs, because they have a way higher chance to drop to apply concussion to the enemy. I have an article on my website with status effects and all that kind of things. You are interested? So yeah, really high damage from that stuff. The Daedric Prey also decent, but it's merely here because it should buff our pet. That's very important. And I had very bad luck with crits here. Like, my average spell crit is at 52%. This had 44 and my highest damage ability had 46. So if I've gotten lucky, I could have maybe made a little bit more, but you see this, they all had more crit than I actually had. Kinda surprising. Charged weapon, that's the shock enchantment that I have on my infused weapon. In case you wonder what that is. And then we have Elambris. Here and here. It's like 1.3k. Not too bad. If you would run a fire glyph on your weapon, it would proc way more. Because, and thing is, if you don't have to do a heavy attack each rotation, it will also proc more. Because if you can use force pulls and light attacks, then you have more overall fire damage, because you see flame, frost and shock damage. Plus the light attacks also are fire, so it would proc more. But because here I'm alone, I have to sustain with heavy attacks. It doesn't proc that often. Just something that you should know. Other than that, there is nothing really interesting. The rotation is on my website. It's pretty easy. Like I said, I apply liquid, blockade, pet, and then the prey. Then if I have enough sustain, you can weave light attacks with force pulse and crystal frag when it procs. Or you do a heavy attack and then force pull. Something like that. Also, what I mentioned at the beginning, if you want, you can run this mob here too. This one, the Tormentor, deals damage. Like if you do dungeon and trials, it's definitely the better choice. If you play alone, choose the healing one. If you would want to use this, just to remove inner light and your mages are off. Then you have it on both bars as well. The thing is also, you see, it's also very expensive. It costs 3k Magicka. Special ability. But it also hits pretty hard. Anyway, that's more or less it from me. Like I said, this is just a build. Adjust the build to your needs. If you want to run the Storm Outro, then run it. It's not the problem. This is just one possible option. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you found it useful. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.